Hi, I'm Emily Shortell, and I am the previous rental property manager for the Handsome Home Buyer. And this is the worst squatter story that I ever had. So we had a property we were managing in Farmingdale, and there were about 5 different tenants in it, all Section 8. For the majority, these tenants were great tenants. One of the tenants that we ended up moving into the building was a homeless man who was living in Eisenhower Park. And we finally got him in there. He was super nice. However, we didn't think about this, but he started inviting all of his homeless friends over. So the man who was on the Section 8 program, whose unit this was, he was on Section 8, and to get on Section 8 programs, certain ones you have to wait like 8 years to get on. This person was a widow. They were also a vet, a war vet. A lot of those people are on Section 8 programs to help pay for housing. And he was on that program, and unfortunately his friends were taking advantage of him, all the other homeless friends that he had from Eisenhower Park. They started trashing the place, smoking cigarettes inside. We constantly told them to stop what they were doing because it could get them kicked off the program, and it could get him kicked off the program. So even though this guy had the unit himself, his friends didn't, and his friends were the ones that were encouraging him to do all these things that were not good for the property. This unit was like completely renovated. Beautiful floors, new paint, really nice molding. We had brand new water tanks in the bathrooms that were wall mounted. It was beautiful. I would have totally lived there. But when this guy moved in, he was living on they don't really have the means sometimes to buy proper furniture. Luckily, some of the Section 8 programs do provide that for the tenants on certain programs, not all Section 8 programs, but on his Section 8 program, they provided him with a couch. They provided him with, a coffee table, things like that. He had an air mattress where he would keep all of his garbage all around. He wouldn't throw anything out. There were beer cans stacked up to the ceiling. There were ashtrays. There was drug paraphernalia all over the coffee table. There were cigarette stains on the wall from where he would try to put out his cigarettes on the wall. Unfortunately, we got a phone call that he had passed away in the unit. Everything got taken care of. The cops had been called. The crime scene people came, checked everything out. He died of a drug overdose. And unfortunately, one of his friends, who was also homeless, who would constantly come there, started to try to use his squatter's rights. Basically, what squatter's rights are is that when a squatter comes in and they show proof that they either live there or other people in the area tell them that, yeah, they've seen them live there. If there are multiple accounts that people have seen them go in and out of this place and they have bills with their names on it, they have squatter's rights, and you have to go through legal to get them kicked out. Basically, this man kept telling us that he lived there when he didn't, and unfortunately the other tenants, because they kept seeing him, had admitted to cops that he lived there. We made a deal with him, basically saying, he has to take his stuff and leave, and we went there with the Section 8 program and waited to get the stuff out of the apartment. He was fishing through old cigarette butts, taking the cigarettes that were partially smoked so he can get whatever out of them he could. He went through the fridge and was taking the alcohol that wasn't used yet by the man, which was supposedly his friend, which is incredibly upsetting. Once we finally got this guy to leave on his own terms without him using his squatter's rights to stay, we changed the locks. And unfortunately, so the program had changed the locks for us, which when you change the locks, you have to make sure all the windows are locked, the doors are locked. Everything that could be locked should be locked, just in case. Unfortunately, one of those windows was left unlocked. And that night, I got a phone call and an email from one of the tenants. And they were like, Emily, like you have to come over here really quickly. There's someone climbing through the window. There's someone climbing through the window. So I get in my car and I rush over there. I'm calling Charles and telling him what's going on. I'm calling Leo, our foreman, to try to get him over there just in case they had to bust the door in. The cops were saying, you know, we're gonna bust the door in if you don't get here in a certain amount of time, which obviously we don't want that to happen because then we have to do structural fixing of the door frame if they kick it in. So anyway, we got there and there was just this like belligerent, drunk, homeless man like being held back by the cops. And I came with the lease agreement. I was like, you don't live here, like you don't live here. And he kept being like, I live here, my name is this. And he had like the guy's fake license, didn't even look like him. Like clearly the picture was off. He was clearly belligerent. The guy had physically, I don't know how he did this. There's a staircase leading up to this apartment. And the window that he climbed into is like a 5 foot, not like my height, 5'9" like space between the stair step and the window. And this guy who is drunk managed to get like drunk strength and lift himself up through the window, open it and climb through the window and get inside the apartment. And this guy was like an older man. Like I couldn't have done that. Like I don't know how he did it. So anyway, the cops, we get there, we open the door, the cops finally get him out. And you know, clearly since none of the other tenants had seen this guy there before, he didn't get to use his squatter's rights. I had the regular lease. His name was not on the lease. He just kept screaming belligerently that, you know, he lived there. He destroyed the window frame. There was like crumbling sheetrock. He, you know, was found sleeping on the deflated air mattress that the dead guy had, you know, well, that the old tenant clearly had died on. We were still in the process of cleaning out the unit, repairing it so we can get another tenant in. Unfortunately, these things happen. The guy, you know, was taken off premises and we changed the locks yet again, closed all the windows, locked all the windows, and that was really it. That's the worst squatter story I ever had as the rental property manager.